Tonight, I'm all yours. Just be gentle with me. That night, we unleashed everything, a torrent of desperate passion. At the peak, her eyes welled up, and a rare tremor entered her cold voice. Let's never see each other again in the next life. Then she pushed me from the rooftop of the 27-story high-rise, sending me plummeting to a bloody end. I jolted awake from the nightmare, drenched in sweat, only to realize it wasn't just a dream. It was a premonition. In 3 days, my wife's new tech venture would launch and become a massive success. And the first thing she would do with her newfound freedom was leave me, to finally be with her childhood sweetheart, Ethan Vance. After that, I would die for real, a forgotten casualty on grimy city street. From that day on, my wife, Ava, noticed a change in me. I stopped calling her babe. I stopped begging for her affection. I became distant and different. She'd watch me with a frown, trying to figure out what new game I was playing. To save myself, I decided to die for her first, on my own terms. Mr. Foster, the contract is active. As agreed, we will stage your death in 3 days. The body, does it look like me? Rest assured, sir, it's a one-to-one custom silicone model, molded from your exact measurements. No one will know the difference. A bitter laugh escaped my lips, followed by a long, cathartic sigh. Ava Hayes, from now on, our lives are 2 parallel lines, never to cross again. I hope you and Ethan Vance find the happiness you're looking for. Find what? Ava's cool, crisp voice cut through the air from behind me. I hung up the phone. Nothing. Do you remember what's in 3 days? Just then, a notification chimed on her phone. A rare, genuine smile lit up her icy features as she typed a rapid reply, tossing a perfunctory guess over her shoulder. Our anniversary. She slipped her phone back into her pocket, and the look she gave me held a trace of warmth. A warmth I knew was just the lingering residue of her conversation with Ethan. I lowered my gaze and hummed in agreement. But she had forgotten. Our anniversary was today. 3 days from now wasn't our anniversary. It was the day she and Ethan would be reunited. 7 years ago, Ethan had left her behind and moved abroad, cutting off all contact. In a fit of what I could only describe as spite, Ava had entered into a whirlwind marriage with me, the man who had loved her from afar for years. I thought my devotion, my bottomless well of affection, could eventually melt her heart of stone. All I ever got in return were her cold shoulders and indifferent glances. The first year, I filled our apartment with 9,999 roses. She said, "Leo, how many times do I have to tell you I don't like roses? Don't do this again." The second year, I hand-folded 1,314 paper cranes and hung them over her bed. She said, "God, Leo, are you still this childish? Get rid of these." The third year, I trekked 100 miles of the most punishing stretch of the Appalachian Trail to a remote, unofficial shrine to get a blessed talisman, praying it would keep her safe. She just frowned. "Leo, I never realized you were so superstitious. I don't believe in this junk." I could only smile bitterly. She always claimed to love grand romantic gestures, the little details that showed you cared. But no matter what I did, her face remained a perfect, unmoved mask. By the 5th year, I gave up on the grand gestures. I cooked a simple dinner, opened a bottle of nice red wine, bought a small cake, and waited for her to come home. Ava vanished for 3 whole days. I sat in our silent apartment, calling her phone until it went to voicemail every time. I called her friends, her family. No one had heard from her. My eyes, shot through with red veins, were glued to my phone, waiting for a call from the police, praying she was okay. The call never came. Instead, I saw a photo posted to her private Instagram, uploaded less than an hour ago. It was taken at the airport, a long red carpet cut through a massive, cheering crowd. Flanking the carpet were endless bouquets of red roses. And in the middle of it all was Ava, down on one knee in a stunning white dress, holding up a glass box filled with hundreds of tiny, hand-folded paper stars. Her eyes were filled with tears, but her lips were curved in the most radiant smile I had ever seen, all directed at one man. The crowd looked on in envious awe. And there I was alone in our empty house, my heart feeling like it was being methodically carved from my chest. All this time, she had been planning a surprise for Ethan. I should have known. It wasn't that she disliked romantic gifts. She just disliked them when they came from me. So, she could be this tender, this devoted. She could cast aside all her pride and dignity just to keep a man by her side. It just wasn't for me. In that single, soul-crushing moment, I understood everything. The proud swan had finally been reunited with her knight, and I was just a toad, deluded enough to think I could ever have her. I thought I would never see her again. But that very night, she walked through the door, holding a single bouquet of roses. "Happy anniversary," she said, her voice even. I was scouting a location in the mountains. No signal. You're not mad, are you? I stared at her, a tidal wave of bitterness and grief rising in my throat. I said nothing for a long, long time. From then on, we celebrated our anniversary 3 days late. Hey, I have to go out tonight. I might not be back. Ava's cool voice pulled me back to the present. Okay, don't drink too much. I nodded agreeably. Ava paused, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. She clearly hadn't expected me to agree so easily. The old me would have argued, pleaded, begged her to come home early. But the new me didn't need to anymore. She watched me with suspicion, even taking longer than usual to change her clothes. She seemed to want to say something several times, but always stopped herself. Finally, she left, unable to meet the dead, empty look in my eyes. I took out a neatly prepared set of divorce papers and a suicide letter and placed them inside an elegant gift box. Staring out the window at the chipped crescent moon, a single tear traced a path down my cheek. I had given her 2 more years, hoping she would change her mind. But my premonition confirmed it. She would always choose Ethan. I finally knew that no amount of effort on my part could ever compete with the ghost of a first love. To my surprise, Ava came home that night. For the first time, she hugged me. Her voice was softer than I'd ever heard it. Honey, I'm home. I could count on one hand the number of times she'd call me that. A word I once craved to hear now fell flat, stirring nothing inside me. I was silent for a moment before placing the gift box in her hands. This is for you. Ava raised an eyebrow. An anniversary gift? I nodded, forcing a smile. You can't open it until 3 days from now. I hope you like it. For the first time, Ava smiled back at me. A real smile. I have a gift for you too. She pressed a car key into my palm. I bought you that sports car you love so much. I looked down at the familiar key fob and fell silent. It was a car I did love, a Porsche 911 worth a small fortune. I'd first seen it at Ava's birthday party, and the owner had been Ethan Vance. Ethan's car. I saw how much you liked it, she said, as if expecting praise. So I bought it from him for you. A hollow laugh bubbled in my chest. What Ava didn't know was that I'd seen Ethan's Instagram story just today. It featured a brand new, pitch-black Koenigsegg, a one-of-a-kind model worth millions. The caption read, "Even the most beautiful scenery gets boring after a while. Even the best car gets old. It's not that I want something new, it's just that this car was a gift from someone who means the world to me. Thank you, Ava." She had bought Ethan a new hypercar and given me his hand-me-downs, just like she assumed my love was something cheap and disposable. Why aren't you happy? Ava asked, sensing my mood shift. I plastered a smile on my face. I am. Thank you. I love it. Thank you. She looked taken aback for a second. She probably remembered that I once told her we were husband and wife, and we never needed to thank each other for anything. But soon we wouldn't be. So of course I needed to say thank you. That night, we slept with our backs to each other. After a long silence, Ava's voice was hesitant. Honey, will you always be this patient with me? For my whole life? Yes, I replied, my voice flat. I'll give you anything you want, including leaving you forever. Another long silence stretched between us. Then, her cool voice returned. If I gave myself to you, would that make you happy? Just go to sleep. After I said that, I felt her body flinch beside me. The old me was always begging for her, my voice desperate and needy. We're married, Ava, and I want a child. Our child. She would always refuse, calling me disgusting, saying that was all I ever thought about. Now that I didn't want anything from her, she should be happy, right? The next morning, Ava was gone. She had left a rare note on the counter, reminding me to eat breakfast. What was this? A final parting courtesy? I used to wake up 2 hours early to make her breakfast to take to the office. Then one day, I saw her toss the container I'd packed into a public trash can with a look of disdain. I rarely cooked for her after that. I knew I only had 2 days left. I started packing. The apartment was huge, but my own belongings were pathetically few, not even enough to fill a single suitcase. I went to withdraw the money I had saved over the years, only to find the account had been emptied. The entire sum had been transferred to an unfamiliar corporate account. A quick search on my phone confirmed my suspicion. It was an account for Ethan Vance's company. I stared at the zero balance on the screen, my face a mask of emotionless calm. I had once told Ava that this money was our emergency fund for a rainy day. I guess she decided not to leave herself any escape route from him. Just then my phone rang. It was Ethan. His voice dripped with provocation. Mr. Foster, Ava told me to call. She wants you to hurry up with the divorce. He chuckled. I bet you didn't know, but she's been with me this whole time. She spoils me rotten, gives me whatever I want. I mentioned I like the newest model sports car, and she pulled strings everywhere to get it for me. Whenever I can't sleep at night, She stays with me until I drift off before she even thinks about her own work. Oh, and she's planning on us having a baby by the end of the year. Ethan's tone was that of a triumphant victor, laced with a hysterical edge. I was silent for a long time before my raw voice came out. Okay, I get it. I hung up, saved the call recording, and with a trembling hand, placed the small audio device into the gift box with the other items. I hoped Ava would like her present. Ethan, seemingly enraged by my lack of response, started texting me. She just doesn't love you. I bet if I drugged her, she still wouldn't let you touch her. Without emotion, I blocked his number. Finally, a moment of peace. That evening, Ava came home flushed, smelling of alcohol. I was on the balcony. The ashtray beside me was overflowing with cigarette butts. She walked over, her brow furrowed in disapproval, and snatched the cigarette from my lips, stubbing it out. Are you trying to kill yourself? Smoking this much? Her voice was cold as ever. Feeling warm, she started tugging at the collar of her dress. She picked up the glass of water I had just been drinking from and drained it in one go. Gradually, her breathing grew heavier, her gaze hazy and intense. I noticed the change immediately and knew Ethan must have pulled something, but I felt nothing for her. I stood up to help her to her room to rest. Suddenly, Ava glanced at the empty water glass, then looked at me. Her expression was one of profound, heartbroken disappointment. A sharp slap cracked across my face. Leo, you're disgusting. Couldn't you just wait 2 more days? I stood there, stunned, my hand hovering in the air where I tried to shield myself. Ava retreated to the master bedroom and locked the door. I went to the guest room. I didn't sleep at all. The next morning, as I opened my door, I saw Ava standing there, clutching the gift box I'd given her. Her beautiful face was as cold as ever. I'm sorry about last night, she said. I was wrong to accuse you. I just nodded. It's fine. Ava's brow furrowed. She stared at me, truly seeing me for what felt like the first time in years. Today is the launch party for my new project. A lot of important people will be there. I'm going to open your gift in front of everyone. She continued. The venue isn't far from here, just half a mile away. You have to be there. I gave a small, weary smile and nodded. Okay. After that single word, silence. Ava just watched me, looking like she wanted to say more. If there's nothing else, you should get going, I prompted. A look of disbelief flashed in her eyes. The old me would have clung to these last few moments together. But now all I wanted was for it to be over. Ava walked away slowly, glancing back at me several times. Just as she reached the door, I spoke, a bitter smile on my lips. Ava, why won't you just divorce me? Don't be ridiculous. We're never getting a divorce. Her voice was sharp, insistent. And you have to come later. You have to. She paused, her voice dropping to a near whisper. Tonight, I'll give you everything you've ever wanted. With that, she rushed out the door. I picked up my phone. How am I going to die? A fire, the voice on the other end replied. We'll start setting up the scene in an hour. I grabbed my suitcase and took one last look at the cage I had lived in for so many years. A genuine, relaxed smile spread across my face. In that moment, I felt a release so profound it was almost dizzying. Goodbye, and good riddance. I walked out the door without looking back. Ava's project launch was a glittering affair. The room was filled with the city's elite, champagne, flutes clinking, conversations buzzing. Ava stood near the stage, clutching my gift box so tightly her knuckles were white. Everyone, she began, her voice commanding the room's attention. I have something I'd like to clarify. Every eye in the venue turned to her. She glanced down at the box in her hands, took a deep breath, and opened her mouth to speak. Ava, what is it you want to clarify? Ethan Vance appeared at her side, and a wave of knowing murmurs rippled through the crowd. Ethan, He stepped onto the stage, wrapping an arm around her slim waist and whispering in her ear, You told me we'd be together forever. Ava faltered. What? Are you having second thoughts? Ethan's gaze fell with disdain on the gift box. Then what is that? Ava quickly took 2 steps back, a storm of conflict on her face. It's nothing. Don't worry, I won't break my promise. She pulled out her phone and opened her text thread with me. The last message was from 3 months ago, me asking her what she wanted for dinner. Ava stared at the screen, her expression blank, moving like an automaton as she began to type. Leo, something's come up. Don't. She never finished the message. Boom. A muffled explosion echoed from the distance. Less than half a mile away, a residential building erupted in a massive fireball, a column of thick black smoke clawing at the sky. Ava's head snapped up. In an instant, her eyes flooded with tears. Home. That's the direction of our home. Leo, he couldn't be. The world went dark at the edges of her vision. A wave of grief, more powerful than anything she had ever felt, crashed over her. The gift box slipped from her numb fingers and hit the floor. With a soft crack, the box broke open. Ava looked down. Inside, resting on top, were a set of pristine divorce papers. And underneath them, a letter, a suicide note. Her mind went completely blank. Her lips, once a vibrant red, were now a bloodless white. Ethan stared at the distant column of smoke, a triumphant smirk on his face. No, it can't be. Ava's hands trembled as she scrambled to pick up the divorce papers and the letter from the floor. Beneath them lay a small digital voice recorder. He's fine, she whispered, her voice cracking. Leo will be fine. Ethan's grin widened, unable to conceal his delight. Ava, he's dead. We can finally be together now. Ava's bloodshot eyes snapped to his, her teeth clenched. Impossible. My husband is not dead. Say that again, and I will rip your tongue out. Ethan froze, stunned. The woman who had been so subservient to him was suddenly looking at him with pure, unadulterated hatred. The guests exchanged uneasy glances. So, Ava Hayes had a husband, and this Ethan Vance was the other man, the one who broke up their home? Instantly, the looks they cast at the pair turned from admiration to contempt. As if possessed, Ava bolted for the parking garage. But the valet line was too long. Giving up, she abandoned the idea of driving and just started running. She fumbled for her phone, dialing my number over and over as she sprinted down the street. All she got was the busy signal of a blocked number. Leo, please pick up. I was wrong. I was so wrong. A thick film of tears blurred her vision. Her foot caught on an uneven patch of sidewalk, and she went down hard, scraping her knee palms on the concrete. Blood welled up, but she scrambled back to her feet, kicked off her 4-inch heels, and kept running, her designer dress tearing at the hem. The elegant, composed Ava Hayes was now a disheveled, frantic wreck. She dialed 911, then the fire department, her fingers shaking too much to press the numbers correctly at first. Finally, she reached the home she had lived in for years. It was gone, engulfed by a roaring inferno, already collapsing into a pile of smoldering ash. Not a single memory, not even a trace of our life together was left for her. Helplessness, guilt, regret. A storm of emotions she had never allowed herself to feel finally broke through and consumed her. Her last defense shattered. She stood there, frozen for a long time. Then, her legs gave out, and she collapsed onto the pavement, letting out a raw, guttural wail. She cried like a child who had just lost her most cherished toy. She didn't know how long she wept. A crowd began to gather. Finally, with trembling hands, Ava unfolded my letter. But don't be sad. Life is short. I'm glad you found a man who can make you happy forever. Do you remember when we met 10 years ago? I was always so insecure, but I worked up the courage to ask for your number. You were sick back then, you needed blood transfusions, and my blood type was a perfect match. I supplied you with blood for 15 straight days. I knew about Ethan even back then. I told myself I didn't need to have you. I just needed you to be healthy and happy. But 7 years ago, when he left for another country, you dragged me to the courthouse to get married. I thought if I was good, replace him in your heart. Place him in your heart. The day he came back, I knew I had lost. I lost completely. You're him. There was never any room left for me. I gave you 2 more years. But it's okay, Ava. Don't torture yourself over it. Since you love him, be with him. I'll leave your world for good. Goodbye forever, Ava Hayes. Huge, fat tears splattered onto the letter. So, he knew. My husband knew everything all along. No, honey, you didn't lose. I love you. She choked out. I'm coming to be with you. With that, Ava began to crawl towards the raging fire. Just then, sirens blared. Firefighters and paramedics rushed to the scene and pulled her back. Let go of me. Let me go. Save my husband. Please, save my husband. She screamed hysterically, her grief so real, so gut-wrenching it seemed to tear her apart. Eventually, they pulled a charred body from the wreckage. Ava huddled in a corner, arms wrapped tightly around herself, her body shaking uncontrollably. Her eyes were swollen shut. Honey, don't leave me. I know I was wrong. Ethan finally arrived. Ava, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. He reached out to embrace her. Ava shoved him away violently. Don't touch me. Don't you dare touch me. A flicker of annoyance crossed Ethan's face, but he kept his voice gentle. Okay, I won't touch you. Meanwhile, I'd already landed. I stepped off the plane into a small coastal town in Mexico and took a deep breath of the fresh, salty air. My phone rang. Mr. Foster. Everything went according to plan. As of now, Leo Foster no longer exists. Your new identity has been processed and is on its way to you. Thank you for your hard work, I said, and hung up. I looked up at the brilliant blue sky. Opening a small cantina here didn't sound so bad. As for Ava Hayes, thank you for painting such a vivid, chaotic chapter in my life. From now on, our paths diverge. This is goodbye. Her beautiful eyes were vacant, threaded with scarlet veins. She was finally experiencing the pain I had endured for years. Ethan sat on a nearby sofa in the hospital waiting room, scrolling through his phone, a smirk occasionally touching his lips. Have you eaten yet? A police officer entered, holding a bag of Ava's belongings. Ethan glanced up, his face a mask of feigned concern. Ava, you have to eat something? What will you do if your body gives out? Ava remained silent, a few more tears leaking from the corners of her eyes. The officer shot Ethan a look of pure contempt, then tossed a small evidence bag onto the table in front of Ava. Ms. Hayes, there's a voice recorder in here. I think you should listen to it. Ava slowly came back to herself, looking at the officer with a dazed expression. Hearing this, Ethan sat bolt upright, suddenly on edge. The officer took out a laptop and connected the recorder. A moment later, Ethan's venomous voice filled the sterile room. Mr. Foster, your wife isn't coming home tonight. She's staying with me. Mr. Foster, your wife is drunk. Don't worry, I'll take good care of her for you. Mr. Foster, Ava bought me so many gifts. You want me to share some with you? Mr. Foster, Ava told me to call. She wants you to hurry up with the divorce. I bet you didn't know, but she's been with me this whole time. She spoils me rotten, gives me whatever I want. I mentioned I like the newest model sports car, and she pulled strings everywhere to get it for me. Whenever I can't sleep at night, she stays with me until I drift off before she even thinks about her own work. Oh, and she's planning on us having a baby by the end of the year. The endless stream of taunts stabbed into Ava's ears like needles. Her face, once a mask of cold grief, twisted into something terrifyingly vengeful. Her eyes locked onto Ethan. He looked horrified. Ava, listen to me. That's all fake. It's AI. Leo must have synthesized it. You can't believe it. Ava slowly closed the lap and nodded faintly. I know. Hearing this, a triumphant smile spread across Ethan's face. So what if Leo was dead? In the end, Ava still loved him. She was still his. The police officially ruled Leo Foster's death a suicide and left. Ethan stood beside Ava. Ava, please eat something. You haven't eaten in 2 days. A faint, chilling smile appeared on her ashen face. Ethan, I'm craving takeout from that little diner on South Street. Could you go get some for me? Of course. I'll go right now. As soon as he left the room, Ava pulled out her phone and made a call. Her voice was ice. Release all evidence of Ethan Vance's criminal activities to the police, and liquidate all of our company's investments in Vance Holdings. Effective immediately. Yes, Ms. Hayes. She hung up. When Ethan returned, the hospital room was filled with police officers. The look on his face changed instantly. Ava, I thought the case with Leo was closed. Why are there so many cops? An officer stepped forward and presented a warrant. Ethan Vance, we have an anonymous tip regarding your business dealings. You need to come with us to the station. Ethan's eyes shot to Ava in disbelief. It was you, he whispered. You sold me out. Her expression was placid. A piece of scum like you belongs in prison. Ethan snapped. He lunged at her, screaming, but the officers restrained him. You bitch. This is all your fault. What right do you have to blame me? Ava lowered her gaze. That's why I'm doing this, she said softly. I'm atoning for my sins. Ethan's legs went weak, and he crumpled between the officers. The acrid smell of urine filled the air. Am I going to jail? The police didn't answer. Silence returned to the room. Ava looked at the text thread with me on her phone. For days, it was filled with hundreds of her own one-sided messages. Finally, a look of grim resolve settled on her face. Leo, I know you, she whispered to the empty room. I know you're hiding from me. I know you're not dead. Don't worry. I will find you. I swear I will find you. A few more months passed. My little cantina was thriving, packed with customers every night. I'd also heard through the grapevine that Ethan Vance had been indicted for fraud, embezzlement, and was connected to an old, unsolved murder case. He'd been convicted and sentenced to death. It was another ordinary night. I was humming a tune, mixing a drink. A raspy, cold voice came from across the bar. Barkeep, one mojito. No ice. You're American? This one's on the house. I replied, looking up instinctively. I saw her and It was Ava. She wore a simple dress, her face gaunt and exhausted, her eyes red-rimmed as she stared at me. I finally found you, she said, tears streaming down her cheeks. You've got the wrong person, I said, my voice deliberately casual as I turned back to polishing a glass.